All right, so I'll just discuss a little more about the story, just to continue with the story. So, as I said, at that time, right before the abortion, like I said, I'm not upset with Katie. I feel like, she didn't know the situation. She didn't know I really knew the theory of everything. But it's kind of frustrating because it's like, in my mind, I know how good I was at basketball. I was incredible. And if it wasn't for the shoot away machine, I know I would have been incredible because I was always getting better. I was always exponentially getting better. And even after the shoot away, I was still unconscious. I still was automatic. It was just the shoot away messed up the way I shot. And then my dad tried to fix it and messed it up. And the other thing is, like, I know how good I was at rap music. And that it happened accidentally, but like I knew how good I was at rap music. I would have been a huge rapper. My mom threw away my original raps and stuff, but I would have been a huge rapper, And the reason why she threw it away was because she didn't believe me about the quadrant model, but she was already had a negative attitude toward me from high school after the shoot away machine. So like, but Katie doesn't know all this. Katie doesn't know all the baggage, and Katie doesn't know about my grandpa's whole thing. How my grandpa came in and he was like, "No talking about the past. Everything is one, and you need to be in the moment." And you see, but like I said, people are going to interpret this and be like, "Oh, well, you were talking about the past a lot, Ryan." No, I never talked about the past at all. It was in high school after the abuse that happened because of the shoot away machine. My grandpa came in. He's like, "Well, yeah, no talking about the past because, when you're in the flow, you're not ever talk about the past because, because of the abuse that was done to me. I wasn't supposed to ever talk about the past, but I was fine with that. I was like, okay, I don't want to talk about the past. Fine. But later, I wanted to talk to my mom and dad, but they were the ones who were stuck in the past and mad at me about the past. And they were the ones who wouldn't talk to me. And I was like, well, it's not my fault. It was the shoot away machine. The first time I ever brought it up, it really was a shoot away machine. But they wouldn't listen to me. They wouldn't talk to me. They're the ones who were not forgiving. I'm the one who wants to. You see, people think that because I bring up the shoot away machine, they think, oh, you're stuck in the past. Oh, Ryan. This is my mom and dad want to think probably, or people who don't know anything. They're going to think, oh, Ryan, you're the one who's stuck in the past. You're the one who won't let go. And no, I'm not stuck in the past. I'm wanting to let go. I'm wanting to move on. I want to reestablish a relationship with my mom and dad. They're the ones who won't want to do it with me. And because they're stuck in the past, they're still upset about the trauma, the abuse that happened in high school. And that was in high school. I haven't seen them really since then. So they can't say, oh, it's because of stuff that you continue doing. No, I haven't really seen them since high school. For any, maybe like 2 or 3 times for, in college for 30-minute intervals, But since high school, I haven't really associated with my parents. So, but that's my point is, I'm not the one who's stuck in the past. I'm the one who wants to move on. I'm the one who wants to reestablish a relationship with my mom and dad. And this is the thing too, is my grandpa's whole thing was make Ryan independent. Yeah, be in the flow. You're independent when, if you're dependent on people, then, they resent you, and, that kind of like right winger type of stuff. And I was like, the thing is, like, dude, I needed help. I need support. And I was so good at basketball. My grandpa didn't know that. I was so good. I was so automatic. And if I had videos, I could study. I did things nobody does. You can't do, if you study any NBA player, you can't study the stuff that I did. And I want to, and when I'm able to study it, I can duplicate this stuff. But the more videos would be, the better. The other thing is, like, with the basketball, with the rap music, with the stuff that I was doing, with the poetry I was writing and everything, I needed help. And also discovering the quadrant model, the theory of everything, I needed help. I needed support. But my grandpa comes in. He was already like this from the beginning, from high school, because of the shoot away machine. He didn't know it was a shoot away machine. And he was like, oh, well, what Ryan really wants is independence from his mom and dad. That's what Ryan really wants. It's natural. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to fix my shot. And I didn't know it was a shoot away machine. But at the time, I didn't even know that. So when my grandpa's like, oh, Ryan wants independence, I was like, okay, maybe I do want independence. I don't know. But I do want my shot to be fixed, and my dad helped me my whole life with my shot, and I need help. I didn't know it was a shoot away machine that was messing me up, So, but my grandpa's like, oh, he needs independence, and then after that, he's like, my parents are all like, yeah, make Ryan independent. Basically, that was code word for just throw Ryan to the side. Dude, I discovered the theory of everything. So then even after college, I'm trying to tell my mom, listen, I discovered theory of everything. I can also do big things with rap music. I can do big things with basketball. If I could just get a little support from you guys, it would be very helpful. No, you can't go back to, because I wanted to go to graduate school, or because I graduated with a bachelor's degree. No, you can't go to graduate school. You have schizophrenia. No, I don't. Well, no, you can't do, you don't, my mom, this is what my mom would say. She would say, Ryan, you can't, she said, you haven't done anything since middle school. You haven't done anything since middle school. You're such a fuck up. You're such a loser. You haven't done anything since middle school. What kind of fucking evil thing is that to say? Even if it was true, that's still evil to say. It's still mean to say and harsh to say, but it's not true. I would tell my mom, no, Mom. First off, it was a shoot-away machine that messed up my shot that you got me in middle school. And yes, that was traumatic and that caused problems. And saying you didn't do anything since middle school was because of the shoot-away machine, if anything. But second off, I did do stuff since middle school. I wrote huge raps that would have made me famous if you didn't throw them away. Number 2, I discovered the theory of everything, the quadrant model. Number 3, I could get back into basketball. But she's like, oh my God, you're schizophrenic. No, this is the thing. And like I said, it was like a perfect confluence, like a snowball of things against me. Like my grandpa coming in like, yes, Ryan just wants independence. And my mom was like, yeah, I just want you independent. I want you out of my life. So it's just like all this shit. And I needed help. I needed support. I discovered the theory of everything. I could have done the basketball, the rap music. I had so much potential for so much stuff. But all this stuff working against me at that point. It's like, dude. So, but anyways, that's why I'm not upset with Katie, because Katie was thrown in this situation she didn't know. She didn't know what was going on. She thought maybe Ryan is schizophrenic. Well, maybe Ryan is justified that his mom and dad won't talk to him or see him. And for a lot of cases, you would understand that too. People blame the victim and they'd be like, yeah, well, Ryan's probably been around his parents and he's probably has a personality disorder and he probably acts like an asshole and that's why they won't talk to him. But I would counter that. I haven't seen my mom and dad really since high school. And I know that I'm good at interacting with people. If I was hanging around with my mom and dad, I would not pick a fight with them. I would not fight with them. I would be the one they're the ones who are like, no, talk about the past. I don't want anything to do with him. If I could interact with them, I'm very good at interacting with people. There would be no fight, but they're not giving me a chance. They haven't given me a chance. So I would counter anybody who says, well, of course his parents don't talk to him. People will assume who don't know me, who haven't been around me. And this is what people who know me say too. They're like, dude, you're a normal guy. Why won't your parents talk to you? But my parents, in my parents' minds, they see me from high school with the shoot-away machine. I messed up my shot and all the trauma and all the shit. That's the way that they see me. So they're stuck in high school, and that's why I bring it up. That's why I bring up the shoot-away. That's because I'm trying to say it wasn't me. It was a tragic circumstances that led to tragic events. Now let's move on, but they won't move on. So, but like I said, so that's why I wasn't mad at Katie. And when I wrote that book that I sent to Katie and her family and stuff before she had the abortion, I was talking about the emotional abuse that I faced in high school with my mom, how she wouldn't talk to me. When they kicked me out of the house, I would try to call her. She'd be like, "You're such a loser. Oh my God, you're 16 years old. You need your daddy. You need your daddy." I did need my dad. I needed someone to help me fix my shot. I didn't know it was a shoot-away machine, but my dad helped me my whole life. And he did help me, But the thing was, we didn't know it was a shoot-away machine, so it was a tragic situation. Like I said, if it wasn't for the shoot-away machine, it never would have happened. But I was like, oh, God, yeah, you need your daddy, yeah. And I was like, it was emotional abuse. I faced terrible emotional abuse. And I talked about that in that book where I'd be like, I would be talking to my mom, like, Mom, can I please come home? And she'd be like, no, you can't come home. Fuck you. And I'd be like, Mom, can we please leave on a good note? I love you. And my mom would say, I don't love you. I fucking hate you. Bah! And then she would just hang up on me. And that other thing where she would just hang up on me. And like I said, another ironic thing was my mom once told me that I remember once my mom was talking to my grandma and she hung up on her. My mom was like, I hate when my mom hangs up on me. And then my mom started doing that to me. So I was like, and then in that book, I was also writing about, so then, I started to gossip about my mom and dad, trying to make them out to be the bad guys, because I was trying to tell Katie, like, listen, don't have the abortion. I'm a victim in this situation. So I tried to make my mom and dad out to be the bad guys and me to be the good guys. So I started to say how my dad was a bully, and my uncle said that my dad bullied him, and one time when I was in middle school, a woman came up to my dad and she was like, you made my life hell. And it was one of my classmates' moms who went to medical school with my dad, and she said how my dad bullied her and was really harsh to her. But at that time, I liked my dad. I was cool. I loved my dad. You know, my dad helped me with basketball. He was always there for me. Me and my dad were best friends. We did everything together. He came home every day from work and played basketball with me every day. He shot baskets with me every single day, my whole life. But, you know, the reason why I wrote this book to try to send to Katie's family and stuff, I put it on Facebook, was because I was trying to, because, you know, at this point, I look like the bad guy. And I'm trying to say, like, you know, I look like the bad guy. My parents won't talk to me. It must make me the bad guy. I must be the bad guy. But then I tried to say in the book, like, listen, my dad, he only got into medical school because my grandpa was a doctor, and he got my dad into medical school. My dad was on the wait list, and he had C's, and he got my dad into medical school. So I'm trying to make myself out to be the good guy, and my mom and dad out to be the bad guys in this book. So, you know, and I wouldn't have done any of this if my mom and dad would have just talked to me. I would have never done any of this, you know. I don't think that Katie would have had the abortion if my mom and dad would have just talked to us and seen us, you know. But, you know, so my mom and dad not talking to me, it's led to a lot of negative effects. So and then I tried to talk about how my grandpa messed things up, coming in like, oh, Ryan just wants independence. He just wants to be in the flow and independent, blah, blah, blah. And like how he made things way worse. And so I'm trying to send this to Katie's family. And like I said, they probably didn't read it. They probably didn't listen to it. And, and I try to make myself out to be the good guy and my mom and dad out to be the bad guys. And, you know, obviously things are more complicated than that, but really it was a shoot-away machine that was the problem. If the shoot-away machine didn't happen, none of this stuff would have happened. But my point is, Katie ended up having the abortion. But like I said, I wasn't upset. I'm still not upset at Katie for having the abortion, because it's like, like I said, one of the main reasons why I wanted the baby was because I thought that would help me get back in touch with my mom and dad. And why do I want my mom and dad's help? Because I feel like they can help me. They can help me get my basketball videos. They can help me get my you know, help me with the quadrant model, you know, just any support I can get. You know, if I could have support, it would help me do my basketball, my rap, you know, all the stuff that I did. If they would have just helped me get basketball videos so I could get back into basketball and rap music, I would have been doing a lot of good rap music, because I've shown that I can always write. I always was able to write good raps when I was playing serious basketball. But my mom and dad didn't help me because they just assumed I was schizophrenic after I showed them the quadrant model, and they were already mad at me from high school because of the shoot-away machine and the trauma and the tragedy and the abuse that occurred during that time. And it's all a tragic situation. But if they would have just if they could just listen to me, talk to me. But the thing was, I wasn't able to talk to them. Why? Because my grandpa came up with that rule. Yeah, no talking about the past, because if you're in the flow, you don't talk about the past. So I'm not even allowed to talk to them. I was never able to say anything to them about the shoot-away machine, because if I ever brought it up to my mom, this was after college, my mom would say, no talk about the past. Your grandpa said no talking about the past. And I'd be like, can we just talk about the past? You know, I just want to tell you about the shoot-away machine. It wasn't my fault. No, oh my God, you blame the shoot-away machine? Take responsibility. Oh my God. And again, she's trying to replicate what my grandpa teaches about taking responsibility, but she's misusing it, misappropriating it. And what my grandpa would even admit is, you know, dualistic software, predator-prey software. So, but my point is, I'm not upset with Katie, but after the abortion, I wasn't so much upset with Katie. I kind of understood what happened, because it's like, it was, you know, she was freaking out. She thinks I'm schizophrenic at that point, which I'm not. You know, she's thinking, and I'm going to admit too, like, even when I was with Katie, yes, I probably did have some anxiety issues, because but my friend Bill, or I'm not going to say who, but one of my friends, he was like, but dude, Ryan, you don't be so hard on yourself, because she was not acting right. So your anxiety was kind of, you know, is understandable. But, you know, for instance, like, I remember when she had after the cerclage, I was, you know, cooking for her, and Mila was there, and I remember she said something like, you know, yeah, Ryan, why don't you just go to Israel and play basketball, you know, try to get on a professional team, you know, and I'll be fine taking care of myself, or I forget what she said, but she had already told me that she can't take care of herself while she has the cerclage, and in order for her to have the baby, she needs me to help her. So I was afraid, and I was like, I don't want to go to Israel, because I want to take care of you, because I want to make sure that you have this baby. So yes, my anxiety, there was an element of anxiety. So after she had the abortion, I wrote this book, And first off, I started talking to my grandpa again because my grandpa had blocked me on the phone, and I hadn't talked to him for like 2 years. Because, like I said, after my grandma died, my grandpa was like, the only reason why I talked to you was because your grandma made me. So now that she's dead, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. So, and again, that's a bullshit my grandpa did, you know? So, you know, he left me in the dirt. He left me in the dust because he taught me stuff about the flow and stuff, but he didn't teach me enough. So I was just confused. He just confused me at that point. Now I think I have a better understanding, but at that point he just left me in the dust. I'm not going to teach you anymore. He taught me a lot to get me confused, and then he just left me in the dirt, you know? So, but then he started to talk to me again because he knew about what happened with Katie, and he felt bad for me, you know? So, and then, he had heard through the grapevine. So my grandpa starts talking to me, and then I start writing a book about the whole Katie situation because I wanted to get my grandpa to talk to me again, and I wanted to show him that I had raised my consciousness to, take responsibility and be in the flow and all that. So, and Katie was going to get a restraining order against me after she had the abortion. She had already got the restraining order, temporary restraining order, and the restraining order court date was going to be in like a week, and this was right after the abortion. So I was just devastated. I woke up the next day after the abortion, and I was just like, dude, I was like in such terrible shape. I was so distraught. And one of the main reasons I was distraught was because I was worried for Katie, because Katie was saying that she was suicidal, and I was like, dude, if Katie kills herself, I'm going to be so devastated, dude, because I liked Katie a lot. And it would hurt me so bad and I was like, dude, I would feel terrible. I would feel guilty. I'd feel terrible. So I was like, I hope that she doesn't kill herself. And I was distraught. I was really devastated. And then so, but so I write this book to get Katie to not, also to not get the restraining order, and also to show my grandpa, like, I raised my consciousness. So I tried to take responsibility in the book. So I'm like, yes, I wanted the baby to be alive so bad. It's kind of like Darth Vader, when he tried to save Padme's life and he ended up killing Padme, and I wanted the baby so bad, and then I ended up killing the baby. And so I'm trying to take responsibility, and I talked to my grandpa on the phone. My grandpa's like, oh, this is great, Ryan. You're really taking responsibility for your software. Again, like victim blaming. I always thought it was just victim blaming, but I'm like, yeah, it was my software. I was in fear and I wasn't in the flow, and that's why the bad things happened. And, but like I said, and like my friend said, he was like, dude, Ryan, don't be so fucking hard on yourself. It wasn't really your fault. First off, he said, your mom and dad should have fucking talked to you and seen you. And the fact that they haven't seen you for 10 years, 15 years is fucked up. They're like, normal people don't do that. Your parents are fucked up. He said they're worse than the mafia. He said especially if you have a baby, and Katie had the situation where she had a surclaw, she needed someone to take care of her. The fact that your parents wouldn't come to see her because they didn't want to bump into me, but they should reconcile with me. That's what he's saying, and I'm like, yes, they should. But in their mind, they're like, they think what they're doing is right because they think of me as in high school, and they're like, well, what we're doing is right because he's violent and he's mentally ill. And no, it was a fucking shoot away. It was a shoot away machine that caused all the problems. But, it wasn't me. It's not, I think, something inherently with me, but that's what I know my mom and dad thought, and I know my grandpa thought that too. But he didn't know shit, And he's just like, oh, Ryan just wants independence, and he wants to be in the flow, and So at that point, so I'm writing my book, and I'm trying to take responsibility for my software, as my grandpa says, and I'm basically blaming myself, blaming the victim, because I always felt like that was what my grandpa taught to do. And I'm like, yeah, if I was in the flow, and that time I got angry with Mila, her daughter, yeah, I wasn't in the flow, but again, like, if the time I got angry at Mila, a part of the reason was because she told me to leave her house, and I wanted to take care of the baby, and Mila was causing a ruckus and stuff. Like my friend said a lot of men would have fucking gone ballistic he said you did better than most men would have done in your situation. But even contrary to that, like, yes, I got angry at Mila, but she told me to leave the place, and like I probably get angry at her too because I felt like because my parents told me to fucking leave. I've been kicked out. I've been basically abandoned. I've been basically thrown to the side. I've been basically thrown to the dirt. And it's like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, you guys are all fucking stupid. I discovered the theory of everything. I was a huge rapper. I was a huge basketball player. I can still be. And you guys are all fucking throwing me to the side. What the heck? If I can get some support, if I can get some, any of that, if I can see you guys, I could have so much potential to do big things, but I'm being thrown to the side. I'm being cast to the side. I'm being ignored, and that's fucked up. So, but anyway, so basically in the book, though, I tried to make myself out to be the bad guy, and I'm like, yeah, it was the anger issues, and I need to work on my anger issues, and, again, but that's a blaming the victim thing, and if I were to take my side, I'd be like, well, of course I got angry. I was being mistreated. I'm in a terrible situation. I was in a terrible situation, and, part of the reason why I wanted the baby in the first place was so I can get back in touch with my mom and dad, but I would try to make myself out to be the bad guy. Oh, well, I probably wanted to be superior by having a child because I believed in Darwinism, and I wanted to have a child because I wanted my genes to be preserved, so I was focused on the promotion and preservation of my ego self, which is an illusion, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to victim blame and all that. So I did all that, and my grandpa was like, this is really great book, Ryan. This is amazing. I'm going to teach you again. And I was like, okay, cool, awesome. And then Katie didn't get the restraining order because, we were both, I was so distraught, dude. I was so, it basically destroyed me, dude, after the abortion. But the main thing I was worried about was Katie. So I was afraid she was going to commit suicide. So at that time, I kept on driving over to her place every day to check her car because she said that she had wanted to commit suicide, and I was checking to see if she's still alive. And I was calling her all the time, and I'll get to what happened next in the story, but